The Robinhood Capitalists. This is, I don't even know what episode it is now, so we'll have it titled, is is it seven?
Seven.
It is seven. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're flying through these. I wasn't sure if it was seven or eight that we were on, but I have been, since we talked about starting this podcast, since we talked about and we have been planning, I've been excited to have Zoomin Grooming and talk about Zoomin Grooming, but more importantly, have our next guest on. She is a rock star. You guys will see, you'll love her. Her background is not the mix, and we'll get through that as well. Um, but Zoomin Grooming, for anybody who doesn't know, this is it. You see that blue paw print that anywhere, that's what we're talking about. And anybody who has it locally, you might see this cool van driving around. If you see that van driving around, it's a mobile pet spa. That gives you the luxury, and we'll let Corinne kind of get into the background of that. But we're going to go through really her journey. So she is celebrating her 1 year anniversary of Zoom and Grooming, a franchisee, here on the 22nd of this month. So give a big shout out in the chat if you can. But we, Coach, anything to get started? Now, I will give you all a heads up as well. Coach is on duty and en route as it's been. So he is in the airport. If we do lose him, it's okay. Coach,
Yeah. So
any comments?
sitting in the airport in Nashville, Tennessee. It's been a good trip working with a great leadership team group of people here in a franchisee with 70 locations. So a
Woo.
big multi-unit franchisee. So this has been a lot of fun for me. I've learned a lot. Hopefully I gave more than I took, but I really have had a great time. But I'm super excited for this interview. This is going to be great. Her journey is exciting. And if I do drop out, I apologize, but I'm going to do my best to stick around.
All right, awesome. Well, let's get it started.
You get one heartbeat song. Take it seriously. This is your masterpiece. Don't forget to dream and taste the colors in the air you breathe. It's your masterpiece. Go ahead and feel it all. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful. Don't stop till it is beautiful.
Before I bring her out, I do want to show. So we had this article that we shared. It is, if you check it out on LinkedIn, Kelly Wyatt, one of our amazing franchise development people here at Loyalty Brands, had shared this, an amazing article about our next guest, Korin Long. So Corinne started her journey with Zoom and Grooming in May, like I mentioned, of 2022. And we're going to bring her out with her quote that you see right there in bright pink. There's a space for women in business leadership roles. So put yourself out there. Let's bring her out.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Corinne. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad to have you on. So, like I shared, your journey, I want to get into it right away. How you went from a 13-year military intelligence analyst to now a Zoom Growing franchisee. But
Yeah.
share with everybody the journey. How did you lead from that to that? And I guess just share your story.
Okay, great. So, like you said, I had been in the military around 13 years. I was an intelligence analyst, first for the Army and then for the Air Force. And I was honestly just looking for a career change. I was kind of burned out on being an analyst. So, my husband suggested maybe I would be interested in nursing. And so I decided to give it a try. Um, it wasn't a great fit for me. But while I was in nursing school, I met somebody who introduced me to the Zoomin Groomin franchise. I'd been kind of looking around for business opportunities, and as soon as I saw it, I knew it was a no-brainer. Like this was going to be successful. So while I was in nursing school, I bought into the franchise, and we launched in May of last year. And I'd never dreamed that it would be as successful as it has been. It's been a really exciting journey.
Uh, Now, first business, first franchise.
Yeah, so yeah, never had any experience running a business or on it, like honestly, never really had a lot of experience in the pet industry. Previously I had been in the horse world, riding horses and stuff like that, but nothing to do with dogs. I mean, I've always loved dogs, but no experience with grooming.
That-
So looking back at the start, what would you say? What skills did you learn in that military career that have transferred over to being a business owner? Analyst to business owner is quite different. So, what kind of skills did you bring that you feel were really
For
important?
sure. So I, the military always has such a strong emphasis on leadership and being able to manage a team. And I do see that as a strength that I brought from the military, because I did learn how to manage a team, how to, really just get to know my now employees and figure out how to, motivate them and, kind of inspire loyalty in them.
Cool. Everything rises and falls on leadership.
It really
yeah,
does. It really does. I
it-
always felt like you can tell a lot about an organization based on like the top leadership. It really does start from the top and trickle down. And that was honestly part of the reason why I wanted to leave the military is because I wanted to be able to set the tone for my organization and, or for my company. And that was not something that I could do in my past career field. So, and it's been great.
and coach, I will tell you. So I was impressed to begin with from the first time I seen her in the in-person training at Zoomin Grooming. She her passion for what she does, the leadership, it does come out. So you nailed it with that, Corinne.
Awesome.
It really does come out. But she and what she said, positive, even from her report that I shared, she talked a lot about positive work environment for your employees,
Yeah.
and she really does bleed that. So I love that you even brought that up. That it does start from the. I think that's why I've hopped around my whole life. If the leadership is not a strong believer, is not, I start to lose faith, or that they just don't have any faith, or they start to not believe in what we're doing, or they don't believe in what we're doing. I totally just, that's it. I'm checked out. Like, you might as well just check me out. I'm going.
Yeah.
Um, and so is that what drives you to go above and beyond? Because I know there are certain things that you mentioned in the training that you really do go above and beyond for your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. I want my employees to want to come to work. I want them to be happy. And there are things within my control that can, tip it one way or the other. And so I try to, keep them happy and, tip it more towards them being happy in their work um, than not.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
being a business owner has its own set of challenges, and you're new
Definitely.
to it. What would you say was one of those early challenges that you've encountered in this career?
So I tell everybody this when they ask. So for me specifically, I like to feel like I can influence the way something turns out. And being a business owner, I don't always get to have that hands-on control of how something turns out. For example, my groomers are on the van by themselves a lot of times. So I'm as the business owner, I'm responsible for their decisions, but I'm not able to make those decisions for them. And so I would say kind of learning to let go and to trust somebody else, you know, to make a good decision has been a challenge for me.
I think it is for most people. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good object
especially when
lesson.
you yeah, especially when you're the one that bears the responsibility when they don't make a good decision. But that also goes back to teaching them what your standards are, empowering them to make these decisions, and making sure that they know that you trust them and that you're going to back them, that they are on your team. I think that goes a long way. And also, like, I try to make it where my employees, because we're a commission based business. Um, if they make the decision like this dog isn't a safe groom, then they lose out on a paycheck most times. And so I make sure that I pay my groomers regardless because I don't want them to have to choose between my business and their paycheck. And that's really paid off for me.
Awesome. So it sounds like to me culture that you're creating is very important.
Yes, very much so.
I absolutely love that. Now, I want to go into a quote from the into the report that you did recently, or that article that was with you. You said the opportunity is limitless. We plan to take full advantage of it. I love that you first. I love that you see it that way, and I love that you're like I want to take full advantage of it. It is limitless. I truly believe the same thing. What you guys do, the industry is just booming.
Hmm.
And I think that's even the article. It says Zoomin Groomin and booming. But what, how far, I guess, growth wise? So tell us, where have you grown? So from May 2022 to now, where have you gone and where do you plan to go?
Oh
And
goodness. Okay.
in the last answer, I did hear the plural vans, so there has to be
Yeah,
some
yeah.
growth here.
Okay, so I launched last May. I was ready for my second van by September. It took us a little bit to get a van just because of like post COVID, shipping issues and stuff like that. In December, I got my second van and we launched it on February 1st. And we are currently booking about 2 weeks out in my second van. So, really, uh, for one, I'm trying to grow my presence here locally in Norfolk, but I'm also kind of looking at other territories that I might be interested in expanding to.
Uh,
Cool. And when you had it, so you're in nursing school and you get this idea presented to you, what was it that really spoke to you?
So, there's a relatively low buy-in for this particular franchise, and it's pretty much immediately profitable. There are a few fixed costs, but for the most part, if you aren't grooming, then you're not costing money. So it makes it like it's not like I have to pay an employee to be there, for 12 hours a day or whatever, no matter what. Like, and the way that we pay on commission. So that motivates our employees to, take more business and stuff like that which generates more income for us. So it just seemed kind of like a no brainer because, we could run 7 days a week. The buy-in wasn't astronomical and we pretty much turn a profit immediately. So for those reasons, it felt like a obvious choice.
Nice.
so now second van February, you're
Yeah.
already booking 2 weeks out.
Hmm.
Or what's the vision? Is there vision of a third van? Is there vision of more territory?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely plan on adding a third van at some point within the next year or so. I'll probably take the third van just a little bit slower. And then because I'm honestly looking at adding another territory and a van up in that area. So yeah, just kind of looking around and seeing what's available and, what would be a smart move for the business.
Mm, mm. Coach, you got anything? If you don't, I did want to go to community. I
So
love that you
one more
go.
thing on the startup there. This mindset. Did you have the mindset that you really wanted to start a business, or was it really something that was new and exciting, or is it something you kind of
Mm,
dreamed of at all?
good question.
It, to be honest, no, I never had a mindset to start a business. I grew up in a very small town in Mississippi, and it was like drilled into you. You find a job, you stay with that job forever, you retire, and then you get a good retirement and you can relax then. Um, so owning a business had not been something that had ever been really on my horizon. I joined the military and thought that that would be my retirement, and then well, maybe nursing will be my retirement. I don't know. We'll see. But when COVID hit, and the housing market kind of went a little wild, we sold our house and we made a little bit of a profit, and we were like, well, we want to invest this in some way that's going to give us a return so that it just doesn't sit in our account and then we spend it and then it's gone. And so we had been looking around at other businesses. We had checked out like car washes and laundromats, just some way to make a little bit of passive income. And we couldn't find any locally that made sense for us to purchase. So then when my friend had Zoomin Groomin, and she was showing me like that she was interested in buying in. So I started looking at the material that she had, and I was like, yeah, I mean this is what we've been looking for.
Awesome. And some of those other businesses you just mentioned probably were independent type businesses. Was it
Yes.
anything about franchising that really stood out to you to be a good
Yeah.
option for you?
Yeah. So my husband and I had like kind of kicked around, like we could do this on our own. Like, I mean, how hard is it, right? Um, but what I really like about Zoom and Groomin, and they did a beautiful job with their vans. Like, we're recognizable anywhere. Um, kind of building a little bit more of a national presence is good, and it increases the value of our business. If we ever decide to resell, there's the brand recognition that's associated with Zoom and Groomin. Um, it just they supply you with everything that you need to get started, because when you first get started you don't know what you don't know, and so a lot of the mistakes that you make are at your own expense. But with Zoom and Groomin, luckily we have kind of a template already set up, so as long as you're following the template, you pretty much start making money right away.
Awesome.
So you now, did you look any further into the laundry mats, or did you just right away once you seen the franchise system and Zoom and Grooming, did that automatically just sell you there, or did you really deep dive into either of those, the car
So we,
washing?
we, we did a deep dive into like car washes and laundromats, and it looked like there was some good profit to be made. But like in my area, if you didn't want to pour a whole lot of money into getting a car wash or a laundromat into decent condition, it in the millions to invest in one of those properties, because we live in the Hampton Roads area. So it was like when I was telling you about the relatively low buy-in, that also felt like a little bit of a lower risk. And I feel like going with the franchise is also a little bit of a lower risk because of the template that they have laid out for you and the national, recognition for their brand. That's a little different than, a no-name local mom and pop car wash.
Yes. I'm glad you said that because I fell victim to that. So we sold our house kind of like you, and I ended up trying to start something that was a no name and thinking, why am I doing
It's
this?
a lot of work.
And
It's a lot.
franchising, yeah, it is a lot because, and so I guess give some of what did you notice right away? Like, was there something that you noticed right away between uh, the difference of that, like you said, just a no name mom and pop, or the franchise of Zoom and Grooming or any other franchise you were looking at? Was there something that stuck out, or was it just the actual structure and system itself?
For me, it was the structure and system itself. It just it kind of made it easy. It made it easy. Like, where I don't know. I tell people, like, you either spend time or money, and so I was willing to spend a little bit of money so that I didn't have to spend a lot of time to establish a business. Because, like, yes, I could probably grow a mobile dog grooming business from scratch, but I'm not an expert in the field, so I would have to become an expert in the field before I could establish myself as a presence. With Zoom and Groomin, that was just kind of ready made for you.
Yeah,
So just kind of a
I
random
agree.
question. Have you always been like a dog lover?
Yes. Oh, yes. It's funny when I told my parents what I was doing, because, like, that's not something my family's ever done before. And when I told my parents what I was doing, they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so perfect for you," because, I've always been a dog or animal lover, dogs and horses.
Cool.
We do have a comment from my wife out there. So from one nurse to another, Happy Nurses Week.
Hi,
So she
Maggie. Thank you so
so,
much.
she has a very similar story. So and she, yeah, kind of changed direction like you. So you guys will definitely kick that off. Um, Now you talked about community, and that's one thing I've noticed already. So being new to Virginia Beach, starting this again, the dog walking, dog sitting, or pet sitting, you realize first it's so a fur baby is as close to a real baby as somebody will ever will ever have.
Yeah.
And they really, but then the community feel. So get deeper into that. Like you said, a lot of people will share pictures now and they're asking you other questions. How has that really expanded, I guess, your presence in the community, but then also how has it kind of benefited you? The same.
Um, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Sorry. Yeah, it's really with being in the community and with what we do what you do with the mobile grooming and the dogs,
Uh-huh.
and it really connecting to the community. Virginia, I noticed, is a big dog, especially Virginia Beach is a huge dog community. So how did that, I guess, help you kind of catapult into the community, and where are you wanting to grow from that?
Oh, if you ask my husband this question, it's funny. He'll tell you that I'm completely different. I honestly have always been just kind of a little more introverted and kind of like standoffish or whatever. And this has like definitely forced me out of my comfort zone. It's so funny. Sometimes I'll be like out in the community and I'll see dogs that, like, people pictures that they've sent to me that I'm like, I know that dog, and it's a dog we groom. And so, it's just kind of becoming more involved. It's important, like, when you're in a franchise and when you're running a business that's based in the community, that you're an active, involved part of the community. And that's kind of honestly been a very big area of growth for me, because like I said, I kind of like tend to be a little more reserved. So becoming more of an involved member of the community has definitely been, a big area of growth.
Nice.
Yeah, in my neighborhood, I think I know more dogs' names than I know people's names, because
Oh, for
I'm a
sure.
big dog guy too.
For
But
sure.
last week, we were talking about marketing for the two shows last week. So as you got started, I know that's always one of a new business owner's big fears, is where am I going to get the business? So what have been a couple of the really good marketing efforts that you've used, and how did the franchise help you there?
So, when I first got started, some of the ways that I marketed my business was really just like we were just talking about, getting out in the community and meeting people, shaking people's hands, going to dog parks and handing out literature that explains what my business is. Because a lot of people that, inquire about my business have never even heard of mobile grooming. Like, it's not something that, they even knew was a thing. Um, so printing out the literature, which was provided by the company. They, anytime I told them that I was, for example, going to partner with an apartment building, they would, create a really nice image for me to share with the apartment building for promotion. And they also gave me a lot of ideas to get out and market. But yeah, we would go to like dog parks, and I would share, coupons for, first time customers. I did a lot of marketing on Facebook, and they helped me, kind of establish the best routes to go with that. And that's actually something that I now help other people with, because I really just like dove into the Facebook marketing and have been really, really successful in that avenue. Trying to think of what else we have done for marketing. When I first got started, I did hire somebody to help me with geofencing until I was able to learn how to do that myself. And, the company kind of gave advice there and set me up with a pixel on their website so we could see how successful our efforts were. So, you know,
Have you got a
our,
couple of Have you got a couple of Facebook tips for those of us that are still trying to get the hang of Facebook?
so what I love about Facebook, and like I will always love about Facebook, is I can target zip codes. So I can say, like, because we're here in Hampton Roads and I have a location in Chesapeake, and I don't have a location. There is a location in Chesapeake. There's a location in Virginia Beach, so if I kind of like generally market in the area, then I get a lot of customers from those areas. So learning how to target zip codes was really, really helpful for me. Um, I think that people, in my experience, respond a lot better to less impersonal ads. Like, they really like a more personal, like, hey guys, this is me. I'm in your community. I just bought this business. I'm super excited. You know, um, if you're interested, give me a call. Like that, those type of ads seem to have a lot better of a response than the, you know, impersonal ones.
That's interesting.
Those are
I
great.
like the
Those are great
fact
tips.
that you're honing in on the community type marketing that's low cost, a little bit higher energy, but for
Mhm.
somebody starting out, a low cost but very effective marketing plan is
For sure.
incredibly important.
Partnering with local businesses, going like local businesses that don't have offer grooming services, or like pet stores that don't also have a grooming service. you know, like you market to their customers, they market to your customers. It's great. I still have like some really great friendships with those business owners because of my initial marketing efforts.
For being an introvert, you really get out there and you're really shaking some hands and making things happen. So that is
Well,
awesome.
it is more important to me to be successful than to be comfortable, you know?
Yeah, yes, you
Yeah.
can't
Hey,
find success in the comfort zone. I
That's
love it.
exactly right.
so that's your quote to tag this episode, DJ, right there.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, that's going to be a clip. You'll see it everywhere. So get
Yeah.
ready. That was so funny. Now I want to go into this because Facebook user. It just says Facebook user. So sorry. If you want to share who you are, please let us know. It says, I love the dog industry as a logistics. Oh, I think I know who this is. This might be Ryan, the logistics mug. So give a shout out, Ryan. But it's a great niche to get into. And as a dog owner, the best conversation you can have is with another dog owner.
For sure.
And yes, I will tell you, yeah, that and now go deeper into because you I think either you touched on it in the article or they touched on it, but how big it really is because you mentioned the convenience, and that really is something that's becoming very, it was unknown but is becoming very needed and very popular. But then
Yeah.
the dog industry itself, can you go into more, I guess, what you've learned of how just booming the dog industry really is?
For sure. And like, I just want to make it clear that I am not an expert by any means. I can only speak on my own observations. But, you know, what I've seen is COVID really changed a lot for us as far as like leaning on like conveniences, like for example having food delivered to your house instead of you going to pick it up and stuff like that. And so I've seen that translate really well into other industries such as the dog grooming industry. I didn't realize, like when I first started with this business, I have a Great Dane and a German short hair pointer. I never thought that, you know, that was something that people would pay to, you know, get groomed or whatever. And so it really, really surprised me just how much money is in, you know, this industry. And it only seems to be growing.
I agree. I think you nailed it too. It really, COVID really kind of boomed and escalated the convenience niche is what I like to call it. But I think, yeah, with the, like you said, the door dashing, it
Hmm.
started with the Uber, but now it's the DoorDash, the Instacart. I mean, people are still using Instacart or having people shop for them because they're realizing that their time
Time or
is
money, you know.
time or money.
Time,
Yeah.
And you started this out saying with the business you were willing to put some money out to save the time, and I think that's
yeah, yeah,
becoming more prevalent.
yeah, for sure. And I'm sorry, I blanked out. Um, what I've noticed is also we're not just a service for people who want the convenience, which, you know, is important. We're also a service who need for people who need the convenience. Like we'll have customers that are bed bound and they're not able to leave their bed, and they have caregivers that come and take care of them, but that doesn't also translate to taking care of their pets. Or, you know, pets that are too old or just don't do well with car rides, or, you know, there's a lot of reasons why somebody would choose our service. For those types of customers, I try to give them a really good deal because it's like important to me to give back to people who need the service.
Yeah,
That's
so
really cool.
every business has, you know, some of those funny stories that come out. Has anything like just unexpected or funny happened with one of the grooming visits?
Oh boy.
I'm trying to think of what we might have. Okay, so I'll be honest with you. I really try to avoid funny stories. You know, like I try to hire groomers that you know, have a lot of experience so they can kind of spot that this could go sideways a mile off. We haven't had anything too crazy happen right now. Um, you know, but definitely I'm sure it will at some point.
So let's go deeper into that. So you do have an ideal avatar ICP of a groomer that you are looking for. What are some specific things that you're looking for from a that you would say groomer that's going to see those problems before they come?
So for me,
I'll put a two-parter here. And how are you
Yeah,
finding them? Because hiring is hard in all industries right now.
great,
for sure.
great question.
I have a theory on that, but I'll let you go for a second. So for groomers, what I look for is I look for experience. I pay above industry standard for mobile. Industry standard is around 35%. I pay 50% commission. And the reason for that is I want people that are experienced, that have been there and done that, that are maybe just kind of tired of working for a salon and, just want to do a little bit something different, but they also have the skills and the experience to know how to handle tricky situations. And that's really important as a business owner who doesn't have an expertise in the career field, because somebody that is inexperienced, when I first got started, couldn't necessarily call me and say like, oh gosh, this is happening, what do I do? Because I'd be like, I don't know what you do. So I made sure to hire people who didn't have to call me, that could just share with me how they handled that. And when we talk about hiring, so I do a lot of my hiring from Indeed. I've done some recruitment through social media, but most of my hiring's through Indeed. And I really believe that there's not a shortage of people in the industry, or people period, that are willing to work. There's a shortage of people that are willing to work for poor wages and poor treatment. So that's how I address hiring issues, is I try to make sure that I'm treating my employees well and I'm paying them well. And, they're willing to work for me. I haven't had any trouble finding groomers to fill my days.
Cool. That's a great answer.
I love that you said that because you nailed it. I mean, that's why they all went to gig work. If you're not going to treat them good, they're going to go find something else, and that they really opened up that market, and that's
Right.
really what boomed it.
But that
It's
puts the onus back on us as business owners to make sure that we're creating a company that people would want to be at.
Amen. Amen.
Yep. And just to dig back onto the franchising side of things a little bit more, what are some key things that the franchisor has provided that you think were really helpful in getting started?
So they have never, ever, ever been stingy with their advice. They have put me in touch with people that I would never have had the opportunity to be in touch with in any other situation. They've been happy to share advice or help me handle scary situations. And they have been more than generous with their marketing, helping me learn how to do marketing, learn how to manage my marketing program.
Let me get these comments. We do have, I believe it's Ryan, but definitely an opportunity, as we don't have mobile groomers and we have three dogs ourselves. Hey, reach out. What advice to somebody? I feel like you touched on something that is kind of what sparked this idea of this podcast, the show. Is I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are either recently getting laid off, especially the tech world, and they have, they have the discipline, they have the finances, they probably were paid pretty well, but they don't want to go work for somebody else because, like you said, they feel like, well, I don't like what this is about, and so they want to do something themselves. What advice would you give to them in searching for a franchise, and then specifically with Zoomin Groomin?
So when searching for a franchise, I would say find a market that you care about, because for one, nobody's ever going to care about your business as much as you do. And two, if you don't really care about it, you're not going to be that invested. You're not going to be excited to wake up in the morning and work hard for it. So, like, I definitely think it's a great idea to go into business for yourself. I think franchising has been wonderful to me, and it's worth it. But definitely, make sure it's a market that, you have interest in, so that, you're excited about your business every morning, because if not, what's the point? And I forgot the second question. I'm sorry.
No, that was so. It was really just advice for Zoomin Grooming if they wanted to get involved in Zoomin Grooming.
Oh, for sure. If you want to get involved with Zoomin Groomin, you can reach out to us through the website, and they have some screenings. And I'm honestly, like, I'm not a corporate girl. I'm not really sure how I can tell you what happened with me when I went through the process, but I'm not really sure what they have in place right now. I know that they'll do like calls with franchisees where you can kind of learn a little bit more about the business and kind of get an idea if it's something that you would enjoy. I know they also, if it's not something you would enjoy, they also have a bunch of other brands that have done really well. So, I feel like there's something in it for everybody.
Yes. Now you talk. Now I want to hone in on something that you and I think that was the best advice and what people really need to search for today, especially if you are feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you want to change, like Korin did. You talked about passion and or what you have a passion for, because nobody will love what you're doing. That's really our goal of this show. I think if you can find what you love to do and or turn your passion into your profession and then do it with the people you love, like you're creating an amazing team, it doesn't feel like work anymore. You're probably, would you agree, you're probably excited for Mondays now and just ready for the week to start.
I am so excited. And that's so funny because I was actually talking to somebody about that earlier today. And it's like, I, I enjoyed nursing, but I did not feel as excited about it as I do when I talk about grooming. And even when in nursing school, my instructors were like, "Oh, when you talk about your business, you're so excited about it, and you don't seem that excited about this." And I'm like, "No, I'm not." So it really is just finding something that you feel good about doing, and it just kind of gives you a sense of purpose.
Hey, for the people that are out there kind of on that same path, what does a normal day look like for you now as an owner of this business?
Okay, so we'll talk about with one van and then with two vans because it's a little different with the second van. So I'm a mother of four. I have two small kids and then two middle schoolers, and so we get up and get everybody out the door, get the kids off to daycare. I'm home probably around like 9:30 ish. I probably spend like 3 to 4 hours answering calls and responding to messages and getting people booked. Then we take like a break during the afternoon and run errands or do whatever needs to be done to maintain the household. And then again in the evening before bed, I'll check my messages again because if I don't, then the next day I have like 30 people to respond to. So it can be a little overwhelming. I do have plans. Now that I have the second van, I'm getting even more messages. So I do have plans to hire somebody to help me with my booking within the next, 6 months.
Nice. Now, what's the feelings you're having of that? Because I know with new business owners, somebody new to business, hiring somebody to take on tasks that they were doing, do you are you having have you already worked over that because of hiring groomers, or do you feel like it's going to be tough to give some of that away?
I do, because I told you I like to like feel like I can influence the outcome. So it will be a little bit difficult, and I get asked that sometimes with other Zoomin Groomin owners. Well, why haven't you hired somebody yet? And it's like because I want to control it, but I do also understand that at some point I do need to loosen the reins a little bit and bring somebody in to do these jobs that where my time will probably be more valuable elsewhere. And as I grow, it's getting more obvious that I need to bring somebody on so that I can focus elsewhere.
Coach,
Yeah,
advice on that? I know you.
yeah. As you grow, keep asking that question. What is it that only I should be doing, and only
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, delegation is tough for every leader, and um, the the more you empower others, the better your ability to scale is going to be.
For sure. For sure.
Mm.
All right. I will. That's my goal. 2 months from now, have somebody else doing this job.
That was a deep breath. Oh, Coach? If you have anything, I'm gonna just throw up some of these other comments.
Yeah,
There's
let's look
quite
at
a
the
few.
comments. And
Yeah.
I apologize for talking to you with such a shaky camera, but I walked through security and plopped down at the first gate I found.
No worries.
Okay, Ryan. A lot of groomers in Canada got COVID money and opened up their own gigs out of their homes. I feel like groomers are like barbers.
I agree.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
definitely agree with that because yeah, I mean like it's like getting your hair cut. You have a certain style that you like and then you take it somewhere else and it's not quite the same. Um that being said, one of the problems with being a owner that works for yourself is that you have to answer your own phone calls. And I mean, you heard me when I was saying I probably spend 3 to 4 hours answering phone calls. Um, you have to answer your own phone calls and book your own appointments. And I can't tell you how many times somebody calls me and says, um, like, oh my gosh, you're the first location that's ever, answered the phone for me. I've called so many mobile groomers and you're the first one that ever answered. And it's because I'm able to do that because I'm not grooming a dog. And these people that are opening their own businesses, um, they really have to automate a lot of that because they're not able to be as present because they have to also be performing the grooms.
For your ability to scale, I'm going to challenge your language there. You don't have to answer the phones. You have to make sure the phones get answered.
The phones will be
Uh,
answered, correct?
love it, Coach. Look at Coach going to work. So this is Ryan again, and so Ryan loves his dogs. You got to check him out. So the Logistics Monk, shout out to, but he is a dog lover. That's where we are connected. But so he says he hates. I hate it when it's time for my dog to get groomed. She is a homebody. Shakes from the time I get the leash. Perfect client for a Zoomin Groomin. Would you
Absolutely.
agree?
Absolutely. It's really stressful. Like salons are great. And there is definitely a place for them within the industry. But for a lot of dogs, they are very stressed out when you have to take, especially dogs that, were born during the COVID when they weren't allowed to go out and they weren't allowed to socialize. And so then being around a lot of barking friends can be very stressful. So but those are our ideal customers because we just want to take the stress out of it.
Has there been any good or bad that just really about this business surprised you?
Good or bad. Um, I'll be honest, like, it surprised me the types of things people call me for because, like, I'm a mobile dog grooming business, you know what I mean? So, like, I can understand people expecting me to be an expert in mobile dog grooming, but it surprises me when people call me for advice on, dog training or, the health of their pet or, just like I had to become an expert in all things dog and not necessarily like giving advice on these things, but knowing what direction to point people in.
Mm. So did you find other partners that are dog trainers and do some
Mhm.
of these other things? Is that part of your business to business connection?
Yeah, absolutely. Super important, having those connections locally. That's going to be where a lot of your referrals come from, and that's going to be where you're referring a lot of people, even within dog grooming. Um, I can't necessarily groom every dog. Not every dog is suitable for my business, but being able to point people in the right direction and say, hey, you know what, I'm not a good fit for your situation, but I know who could do this for you. That makes a huge difference with people.
I agree. I completely agree. And this is my mom. Hi, mom. Um, but so to I guess to wrap up, we got it looks like we got about 15 minutes left. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with anybody who might be thinking of getting into franchising or
Yeah.
starting their own business, as well as if they are thinking of franchising? What has been the one thing that you've taken from franchising that could help, I guess, kind of kind of give them that little extra. We're trying to give them the push to to take that leap, to
Sure.
believe in themselves.
I think that it's really scary, and I know that I've had, like, days where I was just like, "Oh my gosh, what am I doing?" You know what I mean? It is really
Yeah,
scary to build something from scratch, but it's definitely worth it. I think that franchising was a good choice for me, um, because they were able to provide me with a template that I wouldn't have had otherwise, to be successful. Like, you can be successful otherwise, but I think franchising really, gives you the ability to do it with less investment in the industry, less time investment. Um, e- e- Even when you're feeling doubtful or nervous about it, even when you're feeling doubtful or nervous about it, that doesn't mean that you won't be successful, and that doesn't mean that it won't work. And it's like every day, just every day, wake up and keep going and keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep trying. just keep doing it, and eventually it's going to pay off.
Well, and it sounds like you've been a good resource for others too. And so
Yes.
leaning on that support system
Yeah.
that'll help shorten that learning curve too.
Great point. I always tell people, because I have been doing the trainings, because I'm one of the older franchisees in this now. So I've been helping them with trainings, and that's what I always tell them is, like, I made all of these mistakes when I first got started, so I'm sharing them with you so you can learn at my expense, not your own.
There's another one, Coach. That is, I think that is the secret to, at least in my opinion, that is the secret to franchising. It is like a cheat code in the game of life or the game of business. It's here's everybody else's mistakes. We already worked through those, and this is the way, and this is a roadmap to get there. And just follow this. And the better you can follow it, the stronger you are at just following that, and more disciplined you are, and thinking out of the box like you have, obviously, the better you're going to be, and the more successful you will be. And it's really just a roadmap. And I think that's why I love books as well. Again, franchise and books, they're secrets. They're sharing secrets with you. They're sharing knowledge. Here, this you don't. It might have taken 80 years for somebody to figure out this one little thing, and then they're sharing it in this knowledge, that if you can unpack it, it's so powerful. And that's really what I think franchising kind of takes you to the next level. I'm so excited that you got to join us. This has been amazing. Coach, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I really did enjoy the conversation. It was great to get to finally kind of meet you face to face here. And
You too.
looking forward, I'm not too far away. So looking forward to maybe meeting in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. It was very nice to meet you.
My Australian Shepherd may be a challenge for you.
Give us a call.
I love it. She just booked a client live on here, guys. That's how you do it, y'all. Corinne. So, Corinne, thank you. Seriously, guys, if you are watching this, if you've Corinne is, like she said, she really does help with the training. I've seen her in action. The new franchisees flock to her. Her passion for what she does, her journey, her experience, and she really does like to help and share. Has a huge heart. Very impressive. With training, I got to see it, so I was excited to have her on here to share this all with you. But the journey I've seen and just heard from you is just so exciting. I'm so proud of you for taking the leap. I think so many people are afraid to do that and to just jump in and not really know, is this the right franchise? Is there's so many unknowns that we just get so locked up and so afraid of that we find you knew the passion, but there's sometimes that we just can't give that little push, and you did it, and you are killing it. I loved seeing that article. I know there's going to be more. I can't wait to see where you end up with Zoomin Grooming. So thank you seriously for joining us.
And
Yeah.
along those lines, just thank you for being willing to live outside the comfort zone. That's where the
Oh,
good
for
stuff
sure.
is.
For sure. It was so nice to talk to everybody, and I hope to hear from some of y'all.
Yes. Hey, if you guys found anything that we shared, again, worthy of a follow and a like, don't forget to reach out to us on LinkedIn. Again, me or Coach, we're always willing to share. And Corinne, find her on LinkedIn or Facebook, but also Zoomin Grooming. Check it out. Zoomin Grooming Norfolk. Her Instagram is amazing as well. She shares lots of pictures. The pictures are always so amazing. And the dogs just look so perfect. So check them out. Like, share, spread the word. Zoomin Grooming. We're really just trying to take that stress out of your dog's life and out of that one piece of the journey in your dog's journey. Again, be sure to like and subscribe. Robinhood Capitalist. And any last words, Coach? I'm going to hit the video here in a second.
I'm muted for a gate announcement.
Okay. He was muted for a gate announcement. Sorry, y'all.
I'm always on the red. I'm always on the red eye. This time around, it's not even about getting paid. I'm just an addict for the moment when the magic is made. And when you are who you really are, it can put you through hell. Spend a day in the skin that you wanna live in and see how it feels while the world